Alright, so the Bravely Default 2 demo is out and I have finished it, and it's time to discuss my thoughts. Overall, this game is very fun, but there are a few things I would like to see, or I think they need to be fixed before the official release. So let's get into it. Let's start with praise because it deserves it. Visually, I think this game looks great. The characters are a little bit weird. They feel like they're caught in between the original chibi look of the other games and the anime-esque cutscenes from second, but I don't mind it that much. But the world, the cities, all that looks fantastic. And the new job outfits, they're so good. I really love the monk redesign in particular, but all the jobs look amazing. And Elvis is hilarious, and yes, I know I got it wrong last time. He's Scottish, not Australian, but he said crikey in the trailer, so I made an assumption. Musically, as expected, it's wonderful. It doesn't quite feel as impactful as default soundtrack, which I'm unsure if it can be topped, but that doesn't mean that this music is by any means bad. I'd still slap someone upside of the head for saying this soundtrack sucks. It's real good. I love that the combat theme is a reimagining of Conflict's Chime from default. The Spanish guitar in Seth's theme is great, and while a little repetitive, I love the new Asterisk boss theme. It really gets you going, especially during such a kick-ass boss fight. Bernard was an excellent challenge. He was in what I call that perfect difficulty range, and I was pleasantly surprised by the post-demo bosses too. The combat still feels great, but that's just the classic Bravely Default formula coming back, of course. Seriously though, this game is still a lot of fun to play, and I was never bored while grinding enemies in it, compared to Octopath, where it felt a little more like a chore. It may be due to getting so many unlocks so quickly because they reduced probably job costs for the sake of the demo, but that sense of reward is what made me want to keep going as well. I love the new open world, it feels really nice, and the bush cutting mechanic is cute. I'm really happy with the encounter change to being from random to actually encountering the monsters, and I found it really neat that some of the monsters will run away from you if you're more powerful than them. But with that out of the way, I'm out of praise to offer, and this is a good spot to transition to some criticism. Despite liking the concept of the encounter change, it needs a bit of work. For one thing, the enemy spawns seem a bit off. Sometimes I'll get out of a battle only to have something come sprinting at me immediately afterwards before I have time to act or recover. Other times, they'll come sprinting from outside my field of view and then put me in battle before I even have time to react and run away. This was a bigger issue in the dungeon I found than in the overworld. Another problem was the camera itself. There's numerous times where a new enemy would spawn behind me, but because the camera would be blocked by terrain, I could not see them, and then hence I'm dragged into another battle. Perhaps having the terrain fade to being invisible from where you're looking so you can see through it would help, like how the wall is removed when you enter the side door in Savalon Palace. That would be really nice. There were a number of issues I noticed with combat, so let's go over those. The most important of them all, and probably the most important thing that needs to be fixed, we need a turn or an initiative counter. With the game no longer allowing us to choose our whole team plan in one go and then let them fight, it is nearly impossible to tell when one turn has ended and another is beginning. I don't have a problem with the randomized character actions, but we need a counter. This is critical when it comes to abilities like Shell Split. I have no idea when the debuff has worn off now, so a turn counter is heavily requested for this. On top of that, please fix the combat menu. I know this is the demo, so I'm hoping this is just a menu for us to play the game with before the real one is done, but this menu is a bit unpleasant to look at and annoying to navigate. One of the little things that I really appreciated Bravely Default for was the ability to play the game with only your left hand. The horizontal aspect makes the combat list more annoying to use because you have to go left and right and up and down, and the lack of anything other than text slows down the gameplay significantly as I find myself constantly reading and rereading abilities over again to make sure I'm clicking on the right one. Having the job icons in default and second were really helpful because then, oh, I recognize that color and that symbol, that's where I need to go. Whereas I'm like, there's the black mage. Oh, where's the black mage? There's the black mage. I gotta keep looking for it over and over. So yeah, some icons or colors in these texts would really help, and we really need specials to stand out more when they're available. So I recommend going back to a vertical list. The vertical list was much easier to navigate, and add a little bit of color or some things to make certain bits stand out and easier to find. Another problem that a lot of people had was no default hotkey. I agree, it's not like a really massive issue, but I would like to see it fixed if that's possible, and perhaps throw default on R and Brave back on L like in the 3DS. It would make things a lot easier. I was tapping R a lot of times when I meant to default, but it did Brave instead, and it took me a bit to get back to it. However, I do like, I'll add this as a little bit of praise, I do like that switching between single target and all cast is X now. I do like that quick change. And that's it. While I had some gripes with it, while I had some big gripes with those things I just listed, I still had a lot of fun playing this demo. So thank you to Asano and team for surprising us all with this wonderful little gift out of nowhere during such turbulent times. So to the audience watching, what did you love about this demo? What needs work? Share your thoughts down below, and be sure to submit them to the Bravely team on March 30th, as they'll be taking surveys on your thoughts at the time. Make sure to like and subscribe for more news on Bravely Default 2 from me. Alright, thanks for watching everyone. I'll see you soon.